I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music. Welcome to my channel. Today, in my Fingerboard Geometry series, we'll be covering multiple octave arpeggios within the major scale. First, we'll look at some fingerings and examples, and then we'll do some exercises. Here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Alright, today we'll be playing multiple octave root position arpeggios. I'm going to go ahead and review fingerings with you, but if you have not seen my videos on root position arpeggios or multiple octave arpeggios, you might want to go and look at those. I'm going to play all arpeggios to start just off the root G. Let's trace out the multiple octaves. 3rd fret G, 5th fret G, 8th fret G. Now I'm going to play the arpeggio shape oriented toward the bridge. G, the root, B, the major third, and D, the 5th. And we'll do that from each of the other Gs. And then we'll put it all together. So that was our major arpeggio shape. All right, here we go with multi-octave minor arpeggios. We're using root G. So here are our Gs again. And we'll be playing the same shape from each of those Gs. So minor triad toward the bridge. So we're just going to lower the third from our last shape. So here's the root G. Minor third, B flat, 5th, D. And we'll play the same shape from each of the Gs. And here it is all together. And finally now we have G diminished. Again, we're using the same 3 Gs. This time we'll have a diminished arpeggio. That means we'll be lowering the 5th. Here's our root G. Minor third, B flat, diminished 5th, D flat. And we'll be doing that shape from each of the Gs. And here it is all together. All right, let's get a look at those arpeggios again. This time we're going to orient the 3rd toward the nut and the 5th toward the bridge. Here's G major. G is the root, B is the major 3rd, and D is the 5th. Let's take that in 3 octaves. Root, 3rd, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th. And now all together. Okay, now we have the nut bridge fingering for minor. We're going to use those same 3 Gs. So here we go with the minor fingering. Root is G. Minor third is B flat. And 5th is D. And we'll take that to the other 2 octaves. And now here it is all together. All right, let's go on to the nut bridge fingering for G diminished. Here is the root G. Minor third, B flat. Diminished 5th, D flat. And we'll do that from the next G. And the top G. Now here it is all together. Now we'll be looking at some 2 octave arpeggio fingerings. So we're going to use our bridge fingering for this particular example, and I'm going to play this arpeggio on C. Let's go ahead and trace out the octaves. Here's C at the 3rd fret. And here's the octave C at the 5th fret. We're going to start out with a major arpeggio again, fingered similarly to what we had before, except in the 2nd octave we'll have to adjust for tuning. Here's the 1st octave, C major. We're orienting both intervals again toward the bridge. Root C, major 3rd E, 5th G. And then the next octave we have tuning adjustment. Here's C again, major 3rd E, and the 5th is tuning adjusted G. Let's put that together. All right, let's work on the 2-octave minor arpeggio. So again, I'm going to do C. My roots are here. And for this arpeggio, we'll just be lowering the 3rd and we'll have a minor arpeggio. So here's the 1st octave. Root, minor 3rd, and 5th. And from the next octave, we're going to have a tuning adjusted 5th. Root, minor 3rd E flat, and 5th is G. Now let's put that together. All right, now for the 2-octave diminished arpeggio, we're going to do that on C again. Here's the root C. We have the minor 3rd E flat, and the diminished 5th G. And now we'll do that from the next octave. C, minor 3rd E flat, diminished 5th G flat. And here it is all together. All right, let's look at some nut bridge fingerings for 2-octave arpeggios on C. We're going to go ahead with the major arpeggio. So we have C, E, G, that's root 3rd, 5th. C, E, G. And then the next octave we have tuning adjustment. C, tuning adjusted 3rd, and 5th. Let's put that together. And then we have the minor arpeggio. So we're going to lower the 3rd to E flat, C, E flat, G, and again C, E flat, and G. Let's put that together. Finally, we have the C diminished arpeggio. So now we'll flat the 5. So we have C, E flat, G flat. And keep in mind the tuning adjustment in the higher octave. C, E flat, G flat. Let's put that together. In this example, we're going to take some of our arpeggios and apply them through the harmonized major scale. If you're not sure what the harmonized major scale is, you need to go back and review some of my previous videos. In this case, we're going to use the G harmonized scale, and we'll be taking the bridge fingering and applying it through the scale. So both intervals oriented toward the bridge, and we'll be playing 3 octaves. So we'll start out with G major, then we'll go to A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, and F sharp diminished. But I'll be playing them in 3 octaves. Let's get a look. Okay, now we're going to do the same example, but use the nut bridge fingering. So again, we'll be using the harmonized G scale, and we'll be playing those arpeggios in 3 octaves. Here is the lowest octave, G major, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, F sharp diminished. Let's get a look at this in 3 octaves. In this next example, we're going to play the C harmonized scale toward the bridge from the 5th string in 2 octaves. Let's trace out the lower octave of our C harmonized scale. Here's C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. We'll be performing this in 2 octaves. Remember that you have tuning adjustment for the 2nd octave. Now let's go through a 2-octave harmonized C scale using the nut bridge fingering. Let's trace out the bottom octave. Here's the 1 chord, C major. 2 chord, D minor. 3 chord, E minor. 4 chord, F. 5 chord, G. 6 chord is A minor. And the 7th chord is B diminished. Let's get a look at that in 2 octaves. Alright, now for the exercises. In this exercise, I will be performing a 3-octave arpeggio fingered toward the bridge. We're going to use the key of B flat for the exercise, and I will be starting on the 5 chord F. This allows me to start at the 1st fret so I don't run out of room for my fingerings. Here's the 1st arpeggio, F major. I'll do that in 3 octaves. That's the 5 chord. Then we'll go on to the 6 chord. That's G minor. Then the 7 chord, that's A diminished. 1 chord, B flat. 2 chord, C minor. 3 chord is D minor. 4 chord is E flat major. And that would take us back to the 5 chord F. Let's get a look at the exercise. In our second exercise, we'll be playing a 2-octave arpeggio in the key of E. Again, instead of starting on the 1 chord, we'll be starting on the 5 chord. This allows us maximum room for our fingerings as we go across the board. Let's go ahead and trace out the lower octave. So if I'm in the key of E, starting on the 5, my 5 chord would be B. Here is the nut bridge fingering. That's 5. 6 is C sharp minor. 7 is D sharp diminished. 1 is E major. 2 is F sharp minor. 3 is G sharp minor. And 4 is A major. Let's get a look. That's it for multiple octave arpeggios within the major scale. I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music, and I hope to see you back on my channel soon.